pros and cons of being Canadian or just Canada? Good things, bad things. Hockey, good.
Yeah, hockey, good. The ability to, like, as a millennial, I guess, like, live there and have a decent living based on, like, going to university, bad.
So it's a kind of a struggle?
Yeah. In the same way that it probably is for a lot of Americans.
Is that a money thing? Or what's the
Well,
bad
it's like
part?
you go into debt before you know what debt is to get a university education because you can't pay for it because it's $1 million fucking dollars. But everyone told you that you have to go to university and then you get a job and then you graduate and they're like, well, we can hire you, but what's your experience? It's like, I have a university degree. I don't have experience. I need you to give me experience. And they're like, oh, well, go and do this internship that we won't pay you for.
Yeah.
You owe the government
22.
money because you have all these student loans. And
What are those student loan repayments like? Are they like as soon as you graduate, they're knocking on your door, or?
it keeps changing. It's kind of like you start paying them when you make a certain amount of money, or if you get like a job in your field.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
That's the same as
But
UK, yeah.
if you go and work abroad, like I did, you have to start paying them back.
Oh, really?
Like then it's like, but at the same time, like if I wasn't paying them when I was working at the record store, it's like it's not helping the interest anything by like not paying for them.
Yeah.
So it's been nice being here the last like almost exactly 2 years. 2 years next week. Just every month, just slowly eating away at it instead of being like 50 and it's still something that I have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's just being a millennial.
But I had to not
more
be in
than a
Canada to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
And the real estate is pretty expensive too, right? Like just living.
Yeah, my sister basically, like, she lives in Toronto, and she probably plays close to, in Canadian dollars, what I pay in RMB for my apartment. And my apartment's,
But you get that free health care.
Yeah, well, there's the
That's pretty cool.
catch-22 to that, too.
What's the
Well,
catch?
like, for example, where my parents currently live, so, like, where I go when I'm home, Kitchener, Ontario, or Cambridge, Ontario, either one. Your family doctor is basically a walk-in clinic. I don't know why it's not just a walk-in clinic. It's like, oh, I have this doctor, but when you go, it's like you don't make an appointment. You just go and you like wait until like someone's available. And a lot of like major things that people need like attention for, like mental health issues and stuff. It's like, well, we can get you that help, and you won't really necessarily have to pay for it, but you're gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
It's like
So you wait, but it's
you
free.
wait. Yeah.
That sounds almost exactly like the UK. The UK is notorious for underfunding the NHS, the National Health Service,
Yeah.
and then you have to wait months if you have an
Yeah.
operation or something like that.
Well, it's like I have this. It's weird. Like I had this benign tumor thing on my finger when I was a kid, and I remember like having it, and then I had to like wait a while, and then they like took it out. And right now I have like a very similar thing on the side of my rib cage. It's called like a lipoma. It's just like a fatty, benign, massive crap. And
That's my nickname.
fatty, massive crap.
Crap, yeah.
And then
Benign.
poop spaghetti over here. But and here in China, like I can get it like taken care of like really easily. My mom's like, oh no, you should like
And
go
pretty
home
cheap.
and get it like taken out or whatever. It's like, yeah, but like if I just choose, I mean, the situation right now is different.
Yeah.
Say before
When this
the
situation isn't happening,
coronavirus
yeah.
situation, I literally could just message welfare and be like, hey, like next week I want them to go take it out, and then I'll go and they'll take it out, and I'll be off work for a day, and then I'll go back to work. Where like in Canada, they'd be like, well, how is like next February at 2:00 sound to you?
You're like,
And
no,
then
I
by
gotta
then,
do something.
by
that
then it's
day.
like 3 times as big, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like an emergency or anything, but it's like the difference between like being uncomfortable trying to sleep on my side or something versus like, well, you just go and they do
And
it, and it's
pretty
like
cheap
1,000
too,
kwai
and
or
fast.
something, you know.
They get you in and out. Cool. Any other Canada notes? Good, bad, ugly?
Tim Hortons, man, I miss that shit.
Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Is the coffee good or is the donuts?
Yeah. There's
We-
been a theory for
We
a
had
long
Johan
time
on
that
before, and he was not a fan.
yeah, I can see. Johan and I have talked about this. I live with him for a bit. Yeah, Tim Hortons coffee is. A lot of people think that they put like nicotine in it or something because it's just like it's addictive.
To make it addicting.
But it's. I love it, and I love like Tim Hortons bagels and like dipping them in like cream of broccoli soup and stuff like that.
So it's also got food and like a menu. Yeah. Okay, I've never been personally.
So you'd recommend it for a tourist?
I would, yeah.
There's one in China? No.
Yeah, in Shanghai.
In Shanghai, yeah.
It's like it's one of those things where it's like it's a stereotype about Canadians, but like you cannot go like you land at Pearson Airport in Toronto and you just like half the people that are walking around have a Tim Hortons cup. It is part of who we are.
It's the Starbucks of Canada.
And yes, it's a corporation that is now owned by like Americans or whatever, but it's still as Canadian as hockey.
Is Tim Horton a man?
He was a hockey player. He was a hockey player.
Is he a male human?
Excuse me, sir. Are you a man?
He died in a car crash in Niagara Falls.
Oh wow!
What was he driving
like
in the
a long time ago,
waterfall?
or
I don't know. Yeah, like in I don't want to 70s or something like that.
oh wow! Okay.
So they named the restaurant after him.
He didn't
or he
start
started.
Or he had started it and then I can't remember.
Okay.
Okay. Real big fan.
We're gonna say they named it after him.
Yeah.
That's an exclusive.
Timothy Hortons. Good stuff. Tim Hortons.
And
Hockey.
yeah, the Canadian like niceness is also another stereotype that is pretty true. I feel like half of my manners came from like my mom being like my dad always worked 7 days a week. My mom was always home with us and like she was always like any of like the positive values that I have as a person probably came from her in terms of being
Shout out
nice.
Kevin's mom.
Shout out Kevin's
What's
mom.
her name?
Sandy Farrow.
Sandy Farrow.
And but like at the same time like you would go to like a Tim Hortons or something, everyone's like, oh no, after you, eh? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh no, like I'll get your coffee and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's part of
It's
it
a
is like
beautiful
yes,
thing.
like it comes from like my mom, but it also comes like it's like
You just
the culture.
in that
nature
culture.
versus nurture,
Yeah.
but like the nurture part of it was like the society in general.
You hear it
Not
all the
just
time.
like your home, you
Yeah.
know.
It's just a natural
Yeah.
instinct, right?
So if somebody's being rude, it's like a clutch your pearls moment.
Yeah, like if someone's like someone gets punched in the face, like you probably had it coming,
Yeah.
or like you,
Or you just supported the opposite hockey team.
yeah,
You didn't,
yeah, or you're a Montreal Canadiens fan or something.
didn't say
you know?
please.
Yeah. You speak French. Then.
Sacré bleu.
They go nuts for the hockey. I remember the Canucks lost the
They almost burned
Stanley
Vancouver to the
Cup.
ground.
They lost the Stanley Cup final, and
They
it
were
was
up
like
3
Godzilla
games to
went-
1.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
there's a famous picture from that with like this. There's cars and shit on fire, and there's just like this couple like making out on the ground. It's like this is very Canadian right now. It's like we're burning it to the ground because hockey, but also like I love you.
Yeah.
Help